should I take Akkermansia? There's a microbe called Akkermansia Muciniphila that occupies most people's gastrointestinal microbiome. So it wouldn't be uncommon for 3, 4, or 5% of the entire collection of species in your gastrointestinal microbiome to be comprised of this one species, Akkermansia Muciniphila, also sometimes called Verrucomicrobia, because that's the only member of that phylum, that large group. There's no others, just Akkermansia Muciniphila. People who are slender, for instance, and healthy have more Akkermansia than people who are obese and unhealthy, like type 2 diabetes, suggesting there may be an association or a relationship. Now, there's been a couple of studies in which they've given people Akkermansia, and they did indeed see very modest reductions in blood glucose in measures like hemoglobin A1C. In the original study, for instance, from a few years ago, there was about a 0.6% reduction in hemoglobin A1C, so a very modest reduction. Nonetheless, this has gained a lot of attention as an alternative to diabetes medications, for instance, and maybe a modest improvement in weight loss. In several studies, people who had no measurable Akkermansia at the start did something such as a bariatric procedure or went on a weight loss effort, whatever, and Akkermansia appeared. Now, no one knows exactly how that works, but it's likely that it was present in very low numbers that were undetectable and likely sequestered in the mucus lining. That's where Akkermansia likes to live. Remember, Akkermansia Muciniphila. Akkermansia Muciniphila, mucus lover, also likes fibers, but when deprived of fibers, it has the added ability to survive by feeding on human mucus, Muciniphila. It will consume the mucus in your colon and in your small intestine, and it will inflame the intestinal wall. So, for instance, ulcerative colitis can be a result of this. When they consume the mucus barrier, it opens the floodgates to toxic breakdown products of bacteria. So endotoxemia goes up. And that's why people on these diets, while they enjoy upfront benefits in the first few months, weight loss, reduction in waist circumference, reduction in triglycerides, rise in HDL, reduction in small LDL particles, reduction in blood glucose, and I think, wow, this is really working. And then about 18 or so months into it, they say, something's wrong. I'm now constipated, I'm regaining weight in my abdomen, my blood pressure's going back up, my blood glucose is going back up, everything unwinds, and that's likely because of the overproliferation of Akkermansia. A healthy level of Akkermansia is someplace between 3 and 5% of all microbes in your GI tract. In this situation, where you're deprived of prebiotic fibers and good species decline and Akkermansia overproliferate, you can have 18%, 24%, 36% of the entire gastrointestinal microbiome occupied by this one mucus-consuming species, and that is not good. It's not clear whether it's even reversible, so you don't want to put yourself in that situation to begin with, because you can't regain all those species that are lost, probably. No one knows for a fact. So it's a dangerous situation. So that's a person. If you were on an if you made the mistake of going on an excessively strict carnivorous or ketogenic diet and overbloomed Akkermansia, at some point down the road, in a few months, do a stool analysis. All the stool testing platforms I know of test for Akkermansia or Verrucomicrobia, right? And see if you've got a lot of it. If you don't, okay, maybe that's a unique situation that occurs occasionally where you might want to take some Akkermansia as a probiotic.